What's up guys, Sci-Fi Guy 2094 here. Today I'm going to be doing a quick review for The Cell. It is a 2000 film starring Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn, and Vincent D'Onofrio. So, basic plot of this movie. J-Lo works as a psychiatrist for this billionaire who is going to this company, and they have these machines which allow you to enter somebody's mind. So this kid, this billionaire's kid, is in a coma. So he was in some type of accident. It may have been a drowning accident. I don't know if they explain it or not, but throughout this movie there is a bunch of imagery with water. So I'm just gonna assume that the kid was like drowning and then he lost oxygen to his brain and then they had to like medically induce a coma or something. I don't know. But basically, they enlist her help. She's like this psychiatrist. And basically they can be hooked up to these, they wear these suits, which they look kind of weird. My friend was like, they look like Twizzlers. But they really do. They look like these little Twizzler suits. And they put, things on to read their brain waves and everything like that, and you can enter into somebody's mind. So J-Lo is a psychiatrist. She's enlisted by this billionaire to try to help her son come out of this, or to help his son come out of this coma. And I thought, okay, well, this is going to be like an interesting movie. Like, it's going to be like a journey through this kid's subconscious. Maybe she has to go through this maze and go through trials to try to find this kid, and then once she finds him, he'll become conscious again, and then his coma will be over, and then she'll save the day, and then there's going to be a happy ending, and it's just going to be a great feel-good movie. That's definitely not what happened in this movie. So simultaneously, while J-Lo is trying to, she's been doing these sessions trying to get this kid out of this coma, we're introduced to Vince Vaughn. And Vince Vaughn has been working on this case with the FBI to where he's trying to track down all these women who have been like kidnapped and they've been killed by a serial killer, right? So, they have their criminologist and trying to figure out the motives, and they're trying to put together an MO and everything like that, and they pretty much know the guy. They eventually figure out who this guy is, or at least they figure out where he's at. They track him down to this house, and they get the guy. They don't kill him, but they incapacitate him. So they take this guy in, and he has all these victims, right, that he's killed in the past. But it's like, okay, there's this one girl who's a recent victim and he hasn't killed her yet. So now it's a race against time to figure out, okay, where is this guy hiding this girl at, this woman? So he has these tanks set up to where, it's set on a timer. It's a tank that's just glass, and there's a bed and a toilet, and it fills with water. And so it starts a race against time, because if they don't find this girl before time runs out, it's going to fill with water and she's going to die. So that's Vince Vaughn's character. And so Vincent D'Onofrio, he's this weird serial killer, but he's incapacitated now and he's not really conscious. So it's okay, well, he's the only one who knows where this girl is at. So what are we going to do? So they use the technology that J-Lo's been using for this billionaire's son to get him out of the coma, except they hook her up, and like I said, it looks like a little Twizzler suit. They hook her up, and they hook Vincent D'Onofrio up, and she's trying to enter his mind so she can kind of get clues and figure out where he's keeping this woman at, and they can save her. So she kind of sees he has a tragic childhood where his father was a deadbeat, abusive kind of a POS, if you will, who would, call him the F word and stuff like that. So it's kind of sad. It's tragic. He kind of developed this sociopathic behavior, and he just became like a serial killer. I'm sure there's like a lot of psychological stuff that there's a lot of deeper meaning and stuff like that, because obviously it's about childhood trauma, things like that. I don't know why he decided to like only kidnap women and like kill them, but that was kind of his thing. And but anyway, she enters his mind, and she's able to see like his childhood, and it was super tragic. And it's kind of getting to be a lot. So eventually they pull her out of his mind, and I think the first time they didn't get the information they were needing to try to find this girl. So the second time, I believe, or no, actually, I think the first time, yeah, I believe, yeah, actually, yeah, I think the first time she does enter into his mind, but then the second time, they let him go into her mind, which is like, this dude's like pretty insane. So, it could be dangerous. I mean, either way, it could be dangerous. Whether she goes into his mind or he goes into her mind, it could be dangerous, because then they say, if the fear is so intense, and you can't differentiate, what's happening and what's happening in the mind and what's reality, then you could possibly die while you're inside his mind, or vice versa, while he's in her mind. So it's kind of like a mental battle and struggle. And obviously she wants to like understand this guy, because when she's in his mind, she sees the kid version of him, and she's like, if she could reach him and comfort him, then maybe he could call off the the assault on her mind from his adult self, who is like this psychopath. He's schizophrenic. He's just insane. But anyway, eventually, Vince Vaughn sees something. Like, he's got a clue about like where this girl is. So then they go search for her, and it's at this weird grain mill storage where there's like a silo, and it's like a very dusty little grain storage place or whatever. And there's like nothing there, and then he hears something. There's like this little pipe sticking up, and he hears something. I don't know how he heard it. He must have super hearing, but he heard it. And then he starts kicking some dirt and dust around, and he sees this trap door. So he pulls up the trap door, and then he goes into the basement, and he sees the girl, and it's basically like right in the nick of time, because it's filled up with water. And boom, 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 he shoots the glass. It's bulletproof. So he takes a big pipe, and then he shatters the glass, and he saves the girl. So J-Lo and Vince Vaughn save the day. The girl is free, and unfortunately they kind of part ways. They don't really see each other and start a relationship like we think they would. But he's in the FBI. She's like a psychotherapist person, so pretty different lives. Who knows if it would work out between the two of them. But anyway, that's The Cell. I thought this was a very intriguing movie. It's gory. It's a lot of sexual themes, abuse, trauma, all explored in this movie. So be ready. I had no idea what this was going into it. So just be ready for like a weird, bizarre experience when you watch The Cell. But overall, I did like this movie. I would give it a good 7 out of 10, and you should definitely check it out.